Thank you for having me. My name is Molatelo Sefoloshi. I'm a clinical social worker, mental health and wellness specialist, and I am the founder of the Molatelo Wellness and Empowerment Foundation that was built from Molatelo Wellness. So, in my workspace, we focus on mental health and trauma support. And I am there to create safe spaces where people feel that they can speak about anything and be vulnerable. So I am honored to be part of this event. And thank you so much for having me.
We're so glad to have you here. So, it being Men's Health Month, we just wanted to, as the gents, do something that I don't think typically happens, where we kind of get a chance to unpack what it is that we have on our mind and on our heart, and be able to talk to a professional about that too, to maybe get other perspective that we may not have. We just felt like it might be important through this month just to highlight that type of thing, and also in a way just to engage just a bit more on real topics, real issues. So yeah, thank you for being involved, gents. Thank you for coming and being involved. And yeah, we'll get into it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for introducing yourself. And thank you, everyone, for joining this important conversation, especially in the world where we know that men suppress their emotions, men, they don't talk, men, they were told or they were raised to behave a certain way. We are here to talk about that and why this environment, I mean, sometimes it's safe to speak, in a garden than in a therapy room, so that you don't feel like you're being forced to talk and you can be yourself.
How's it going, guys? My name is Sia Sibego. I'm an industrial engineer by profession, also in consulting. And yeah, I'm a black man in South Africa. So that's where I am.
Thank you for coming, brother.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
My name is Anela Machisi. I'm an author and also the creator of a platform called Inside Out Conversations. So we basically curate conversations for millennial men and women in South Africa and entrepreneurs as well.
Nice one. That's beautiful. Nice one.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pule Kotu. I am a people change specialist in a corporate environment. I'm also a coach, facilitator, and a speaker, and a husband and a dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice one. Hi everyone, my name is Thabo Dimema. You write it with an L-I, but you pronounce it D. So, Reba Soto, hi. I'm a family man. I'm a banking professional. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a board member. I wear several hats, but overall, I'm just an awesome human being.
True.
Hi everyone, this is Thabo Shoholo. I'm a dad, a husband, an entrepreneur, a musician, DJ, friend, all the above.
Nice to meet you.
And then coming back, my name is Jonathan. I am a musician, father, husband, brother, friend, entrepreneur as well. A serial trying to figure it out person. That's what I am. Just constantly trying to figure it out. So yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Molatelo Sefoloshi. I am a clinical social worker and a founder of the Molatelo Wellness and Empowerment Foundation that was birthed from Molatelo Wellness. We talk about, in my organization, we create safe spaces for corporate. We talk about trauma, debriefings, and we address emotions. And thank you for having me. Thank you so much, everyone, for introducing yourself. I've got questions. Let's not look at them as questions, but as a way of interacting, sharing emotions, and just talking openly about how you grow up. Ne? You grew up. My first question would be, growing up, what did the men in your life teach you, directly or indirectly, about how a man handles pain?
So, I think I'll just go quick fast with that. So, look, I think the lessons come from what you are taught and the things that you choose not to take in. So the learning for me has been, what are the things that I'm receiving directly and the things that I reject, but from observation. So I think the men in my life, the blueprint is my father, right? That's like the blueprint of what fathering is and how they behave, how they handle pain, disappointment, and all these emotions. And then it goes to my uncles and the gents in the streets, and obviously other men in our community. I was raised in a church, so the male archetypes in my life from my father was my priest. I was an altar boy. I was a Catholic.
Wow.
And then from there, I went to a primary school. I was in primary school when I started being a Catholic, and I went to an old boys school where men were coaches, men were hostel. We call them house masters, because I stayed in boarding school in a house, 2 houses actually, and then all the way up to university and later in my life. And I'd say a lot of these men came from different backgrounds, environments. Their conditioning was different to mine. So I could see and feel the things that resonated with me from them, right, at an early age. And there were things that I gravitated towards and the things that made me feel uncomfortable. And I think at the time, there were certain emotional experiences and things that I was going through that I couldn't name, that I couldn't identify. But growing up and doing some work with my therapist and going back to those conversations with, this whole inner child work stuff, I was able to actually understand what was happening. So who are these men in my life? Their sort of, posture towards certain emotions. I've never seen some men cry that I respect. And I always looked up to that. I mean, even one of my uncles, I've never seen a single tear from him, but he's one of the strongest men. My dad, I've seen him cry, and there were times when he cried because of disappointment, etc. So I say I've seen a range of emotions from different men and boys and in all aspects of my life, and there's some that I think are worth repeating, but there's definitely some emotions and how they handle things that don't resonate with me, therefore I've rejected.
Just before you go, I just want to find out, you seem like you grew up in a very structured environment or upbringing. I mean, you speak about therapists, you had access back in the days, and you also speak about observation, you observed emotions, and again, you also speak about, you saw your dad crying, and you chose to say, oh, this does not resonate with me, and this, okay, I'll take. That wisdom, where did it come from, especially as a young boy growing up from a community? To say this, I associate myself with, because why I'm asking this, we are who we are because of our upbringing.
Well, firstly, wisdom is my middle name. Literally, it's on my ID. So take that. But to keep it real though, like, I think, sometimes it's just instinct sometimes, So I'll say the influences in my life, from scripture to movies to music to playing in the playground. I was a tough kid. I knew how to defend myself. I used to do little street fights when I was growing up. And then when I became an altar boy, I learned that was wrong. So I think there were things that I grew up with that through talking to people, talking to women, men, mothers, aunties, the ladies, because in our hometown, thing, we had mothers that were like our mothers, but not our mothers, if you know what I'm saying. So a village raised us. So I think it's a combination of those inputs and experiences that made me discern in a way that I can't explain, but it all comes from inside. And that innate feeling is what, I listen to now, because it's somewhat spiritual, it's somewhat logical, it's somewhat, it's a very mythical space, but it's very hard to explain. But my heart is at peace when I listen to it, and it makes sense to me.
And then that environment, did it make you understand your emotions? Do you cry? Because you saw your dad crying when you go through tough times.
I actually cried with him. When I saw him cry, I actually got to see someone who's a man who I respect cry. And I think initially it was foreign to me because it was strange. because human beings are very empathetic, right? You sometimes mirror the emotion that you see. So when I saw him cry, first year I was like, hang on, where does it come from? Something triggered him. We're having a very deep conversation. I say these are DMCs, but it seems they're being LDMCs with the liquid at the beginning. but with him, it was almost like, Dad, wow, I didn't know that you had this, because it happened when I was like in my late teen years.
Okay.
And when he broke down, it was also because of a challenge that he had at a stage in his life where he was not able to provide for us. And I think men and him, where he comes from, provision is your main thing, right? And I think for him at that time, he almost felt like he let us down. And then because I understood that and I had to reciprocate in kindness, it just created an avalanche of emotion and we just broke down. And yeah, I think we had to build from there.
Thank you, Tabo.
I'm trying, me personally, I'm trying to, because I saw my father cry a few times. Like, my father had no problem as well, like, showing his emotions in front of me. I learned tenderness from him and, empathy, things of that nature, from both of my parents, but I got to see that from my father too. But when it comes to how to handle pain, I feel like pain happens in ranges. Like, what type of pain? You know what I mean? I know I don't handle disappointment well. And is that because of my upbringing, or is that because of just something personal? I've learned how to mask pain as a way to keep leverage, because I don't want people to get in too easily. I feel like it's kind of like a dog eat dog world, so I don't want to be the weak one in the room. But just because you're not showing weakness doesn't mean you aren't weak. So I find myself, and so listening to the conversation, I'm trying to figure out, where did the masking come from? Because I got to see my father express and be. So where, I have no problem going through, like, facing certain uncomfortable things. It's okay, I've learned how to perform. I know how to perform, and mask. I wonder where that actually comes from, especially from a pain point, And I don't really. I show it to a specific certain few people, and I'll typically hold things in, blow up. That's how I'll handle my pain. I'll hold it until it's time to just, and that can't be, that can't be the way to go. That can't be like, that's, listening to him talk, that's where my head was going. These things are difficult. I feel my heart pacing and running because it's hard. I don't like shedding these layers, but it's necessary. Someone's got to do it. So, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that is deep. It's so amazing how you say you saw your dad cry, but you struggle, and you're questioning. You don't know why.
Yeah, I can't. The last time I cried was when my mother passed. That was. Man, that's gonna be a year in July.
Okay. Prior? Before then?
I'll feel things deeply, but crying, it just doesn't. And I've wondered, like, what's up?
Sure. And Jonathan, when you feel things, what's your reaction? How do you react?
It's a bit hypocritical because I always tell people, sit in your feelings and feel them. But me, I find myself moving on because in my head, I'm always like, things are always changing. You can't hold on to things for too long because you must continue to move on, You mustn't hold on to things too long. You must continue to move on. You see? I don't know, actually. It's a good question. It's a really good question.
I'm going to go back to you,
Okay.
Jonathan. Silence can look like strength. And I think that's what you try and do. But again, as much as it may look like it's a strength, it should not, hold you back from expressing how you feel. I do feel like you are a gentleman that try to keep things together. However, at times you are hard to yourself. And that can be dangerous at times. Jonathan, you need to reach out, to learn to reach out. And sometimes reaching out does not necessarily mean that you're weak. It means that you're not feeling okay about something. And when you have a support structure, you have somebody that you can, a mentor, a priest, a pastor. I had people saying titles here, can really help you to express.
I think the thing that's always in the back of my head is, what are people going to do with the vulnerable points that I give them? How are they going to weaponize them? That's what's always in the back of my head. How are my vulnerable pain points going to be weaponized later down the road? Because it's happened so many times before. So maybe it's a guardrail that's not healthy. We can agree there, but maybe that's just my mechanism to,
I think we need to fix how you see it. And how you see it, it's the problem. Because the expectation, it is the problem. When you are reaching out, don't expect that somebody will do anything for you. Even myself as a therapist, when you come and reach out, my role is to listen, to support. And many times people come thinking that I'm going to get a bowl with maybe fruits that will, canic me. The expectation is the problem. And again, to help you understand that the expectation is the problem, at times, when you expect that your friend will do something, they won't. And even worse, they might even share that with someone. And now, what I'm trying to say to you is, go and talk knowing that Tabo might tell the other person.
it's okay.
And it's okay. What matters is it's out. But the minute you have an expectation that somebody's going to do something about it. I've got a second question for you guys. What did being strong look like in your home? Who showed you that version of strength? And what did it cost them?
Okay, that's an interesting one. I think I want to just go back to sort of answer the two questions.
Yeah.
Because the background is important. So I grew up in a single parent household. My father was never there. And growing up without a father had its own kind of pain. So the pain that we were talking about earlier on is wondering why this person isn't there, what's going on in their lives. And since discovering that, he was a political activist and he had a very rough life, being imprisoned and stuff like that. So there was a sense of, okay, so he had his own kind of pain that led him to stick away from me and his family as well. But at the same time as well, later on in life, meeting him was like, oh, okay, so this is the mystery unlocked. And having conversations with him and, discovering that, okay, this is what he went through, sort of helped me as well to say it's not me that he was staying away from, it's just the circumstances. But then again, he left again. And as a young man, you're wondering now, okay, you don't call, you don't SMS or WhatsApp back in the days or whatever it was that we had back in those days. So what's happening now with this distance? So my mother had to be very strong for myself and my older brother. She really had to be the man of the house and the woman of the house and the provider and the caregiver and all of these things. So strength I saw through her, but also the pain of any person having to run a family by yourself, So one of the things, to answer the first question, that I really had to stand up and say is I would never do that to my family.
Sure.
So it formed me, it shaped me. It was rough, but I had to say to myself, I want to become a family man so I can correct where I'm coming from, you know. So seeing my mother working through emotions in a very boundary-ridden way was like, I've got emotions that I want to express to you as my mother, but you don't reach out and you don't, walk me through it. You kind of just tell me to, I feel your pain, but toughen up, basically. And it's a challenge, to try and grow your emotional strength without that support. So you have to kind of look around at other people and say, oh, okay, so this is how it looks on TV. Is that really how it happens in real life? Because I don't know. This is what I have, So seeing that being modeled and actually having my daughter's growing up now, and she's also very funny enough, like she doesn't want to talk about her emotions. She'll feel sad and she won't express it. And then when I follow up, then I see her crying in her room. I'm like, no, you can actually talk to me. I am here for you, and I will be here. I will hold space for you.
Oh, lovely.
And be there for you through your emotions. So I'm now being that for her and for my family, and holding that space and saying, you know what, emotions are so important. Jesus wept. I always tell myself that. I say I shouldn't be scared to cry, because if he is such a wonderful man and he did all these great things and raised people from the dead, but he cried. So what's stopping you as a simple man from just acknowledging your emotions and expressing them, Yeah, so that's my experience.
No, you can go.
Okay.
You can flow.
All right. I also just want to attend to the first question ne, of pain and strength. Ne? So, I was born in Alex, but grew up in Limpopo in a village.
Okay.
So I was taken there, I think I was 4 or so. So that means I grew up with my granny. My parents were in Alex. Ne? So you'd see them 4 times a year on holidays when they come home. So the complication at home in the village is that my gran was the 4th wife. Ne? She was the 4th wife. She was colored. She had to learn the language in the village.
Your grandmother.
My grandmother.
So he was coming from.
She was
for being a 4th wife.
4th wife.
All right.
Ne? So there were, obviously you can see even where we were staying in the village, my grandfather had adjacent houses for the first 3. We were staying far. So I was actually asking myself when I went a few weeks ago, like, why did my granny stay far from the 3 wives? Ne? So obviously in there you have a lot of cousins and big family. But now coming to my pain, growing up, you have parents, but if
they're not there,
like 90% of the time
they're not there.
You are with your granny.
Yeah.
It's like they're not there, but they're there.
Yes, yeah.
So when they would come for December or holidays or whatever, when it's time for them to come back to the city, it was the most painful thing, because you cry, you run after the car for 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Because
the car
you
is
knew
gone.
There's no attention here at home.
But at least I was not crying alone. There was like
everyone.
A group of us. So at my house, it was the station. So my dad used to come with a car with other parents. So when it's time to leave, like Sunday afternoon, they're about to leave. So they will be coming slowly. Then they will enter into the car. They will try to send us to go buy stuff, but we know, they're about to leave. So they would go and would run after that car like for a time, maybe an hour.
Yeah.
Then we'll come back. Now you have kind of like forgotten playing, going back to our different houses. So
Looking at that environment, sorry to
Yeah.
cut you, would you say that what was missing in that environment? Love, care, attention.
When you say environment, we say me
Your
growing with my
granny's-
granny.
Yes.
I mean, your granny is your granny. It's not your,
Your mother.
or your father.
Yeah.
They can reach up to a certain
level.
level.
I see.
You know, so then how I see that shaping my youth, like I later came back to stay in Alex, ne? So when I came, I was already like I'd cried enough. I had cried. So things would happen and people would be like expressing pain. Someone would ask me, why are you smiling? And people are crying. So I don't know if that would be me like coping or whatever, but internally I wouldn't have like the depth of pain that I see on people's faces. And sometimes I would kind of like try to manufacture like I'm affected because people would be asking like, why are you not
Affected. Is it because maybe you take things light? Where does that come from?
Not that I take them light. It's like when I see, let's say you have a cup, it has milk, it breaks, and the milk spills, ne? And people will be like, what happened? In my mind, I'm like, whatever the process you guys are going through, it's not coming back. Like that's
the mindset.
That's
that
my
you
mindset.
have.
And
Sure.
you can't just say it. People will be like, you are inconsiderate.
And I think you had to learn it. You knew that your mother is gone
yeah.
for 4 months.
It's
She's not coming
like
back.
Accept. Yeah.
Yeah, for 4 months I'm here.
Yeah,
I
there.
hear you.
So
Yeah.
that I think I know it shaped who I
Who
am.
you are.
I mean, even in what we do in music, there would be, like high achievements that are coming through. I'll be sitting like guys are absorbing. I'll be like, okay, so what's next?
I'm already.
Yeah. Something is happening now. I'm already planning like, okay, where are we in the next 2 years or whatever? Yeah.
But I want to go back to Bule. There's something that you said, Bule, about you are bringing how you saw your mother being a single woman and having to raise you guys, and with your father being absent, and you promise yourself that you will never, abandon your family. That statement is very deep, and I think in today's marriages, it can be a problem. You know why? You have not entirely healed from your childhood because you grew up in that space and you had to be strong for yourself. Nobody was there. You didn't have a support system. Now, that means when you enter marriage, regardless how hard it is, you will keep standing and say, I'm not going to walk away. And that can be very dangerous because if it's not working, we need to normalize that we've tried counseling, we have spoken together, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's not. I'm not saying your environment is not working. I'm picking up from what you're saying. And then you like, okay, let's have a conversation. This marriage is not working out. But if you stay in a marriage where you are forced to stay because you're dead, you saw that your dad was not there and you saw how it damaged you, that can be very dangerous to yourself and to your environment again. I mean, to your household again, because things happen. People outgrow each other as they grow. And that does not mean you are a failure like your dad. It means that you loved, you worked hard. Unfortunately, you and your wife no longer in the same line again, and you can just call it quit.
That's a great insight, and I think I married well.
Well done,
If I say so myself,
Well done.
But it's interesting that my wife and I often joke about it that she's a lot like my mother. She's a lot like my mother. Yeah, so strong woman, very driven.
You married characteristics of your mom.
I did. And she married characteristics of her father, interestingly enough.
Yes.
And there'll always be issues. And I think...
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think not the nice thing, but the great thing that we've realized is marriage reveals the things that you faced in your past, the pains that you faced in your past, the problems you had with your mother will show up in your wife. The problems you had with your father will show up in your husband.
Sure.
But it's not her fault. And it's not my fault for what she's experiencing, seeing me as her father. But what is important is how we work through that. So that's one thing that I appreciate about my wife is that no matter what happens, and marriage is difficult, guys. We all know.
Yes.
But the ability to be able to sit down and say, let's take it a step at a time, and let's work through what we're dealing with now. The problem, not the person.
Oh, I like that. Because you realize that you can't change a person.
Correct.
If you are in a mission to change a person, you'll fail. So let's change the problem, not the person.
100%.
People change themselves. You can't change.
And even if you can't solve the problem, look at the problem differently. So, my wife has changed careers and we have 3 kids.
Yes.
Things happen in a marriage that you would not expect. But if you're able to look at it in a certain way of dealing with it together and walking the journey together and growing and changing together. I mentioned earlier on, I'm a people change specialist. Change is constant.
Oh, for sure.
But the growth is optional.
Oh, Bule.
Right? Yeah.
Bule.
Yeah. So, there have been moments in the marriage where it's very challenging, it's very difficult. But when we look back and we see how much we've grown, it's worth it. So, yeah.
I like your coping mechanisms. As much as you grew up in... Remember, we spoke about strength and pain.
Correct.
It built a character in you. And as much as somebody might be like, oh, how did it feel like to be raised by a mom? It's a strength as well,
Correct.
because it made you work hard.
Yes.
And look at you now, you're able to resolve. I heard you saying that you're raising a daughter who seemed to be quiet at times.
Yeah.
You encourage her to speak. If you've got those kind of mechanisms where you're encouraging your family to talk, let's see how we can work this out. Trust me, you'll navigate it. It's all about support. It's all about communication. And I think I heard you speaking about, it's not like men don't, you spoke about something, men don't talk. Please lay it out for us.
All right. No, firstly, this is my brain as I'm listening to everyone. Like literally, let's just start there. This is such a beautiful conversation. Let's just start there. And earlier I was talking about sometimes society, would be, by society, by the way, I always like being specific when we say society, because sometimes you use the word society to escape accountability.
Yeah.
So by society, I mean men and women. We often create this assumption, or we often use this line that men don't speak. And I've learned that that's not entirely true. Men speak all the time. It's just that society does not know how to listen to men, because men and women are trained to listen to emotions using feminine tools.
Sure.
So,
that is deep.
Because men have complex emotions. So, and that does not fit within the script of simple. Men being simple creatures. So at times we'll mistake a man's silence as nothing. And yet in that silence is a very clear statement that he's saying a lot of things. And it takes somebody who actually understands. And also men have different types of silence. It's not the same silence all the time. It's the same way when we talk about positive expression. Let's say, for example, a father-son relationship. It's not the same. Like if mom gives you encouragement, like, well done, Anele, you did well. Dad might not say a word. He'll just Pat you.
And
You got
and
it.
it's loud.
You won't even say a word. You're
Right?
just
It's
like you got affirmation, you got clarity, you got
yes,
identity, you got acceptance, you got belonging, all the love languages.
Right.
He just patted you on the back, and mom had to do like the whole week of encouraging you, following up, and all kinds of things. And so my point is that men or masculinity is quite complex, and to the points or the questions that we were talking about earlier on pain and strength, one thing I've learned is pain and strength to men are somewhat intertwined, you know, and it starts from boyhood.
Oh,
Because how do I put it? Okay, so we us now, society, men and women, don't teach or encourage emotional expression in young boys. So we teach anger by saying, oh, when he's angry we listen, but when he's happy and all of that, in fact it's anger, happy to a certain degree, and then it would, yeah, just those are the two emotions that are socially safe. But the moment an Anela has a language or a way to express it, the moment you start using phrases like I feel like as a boy,
Yes.
then you're gonna no, because we've assigned gender to emotions. So that's it. So now statements like I feel like as a boy are not encouraged, because like no, you shouldn't be talking to men. Don't talk too much. Men don't talk as much as you are talking. Where I'm getting to with this, that boy eventually becomes a man, and the very same society will now expect him to come knowing
how
what
to
he was never taught. We expect him to come knowing what he was never permitted to express. And so that strength and that pain and that entire build-up, I'm learning that, like, even in this conversation, we're an exception of men in society, where we're able to translate the difficult experiences into the positives that we are. However, one of the lines that I was hearing from us as we're speaking is that we have learned to use performative masculinity to find our way in the world. And that is difficult, because society means, success then means that for us is that if I perform, you will accept me. And if I perform according to what you think is suitable for you or for someone with my type of profile, then I'm rewarded. I'm the guy. I'm the person you're safe to be with. And so now I'll perform according to that. But the moment my humanity steps outside of that script, then we have a problem, because now you'll take away your acceptance of me. And guess what? I am trained to deal with your rejection more than I'm trained to deal with your acceptance.
Sure.
So because as a boy, I was taught that if I am too emotionally expressive, you will take away the safe space. So
now as an adult,
yes, this now circles back to the men don't speak. This then now circles back to what Jonathan was talking about, that he will hold things in, and then at some point he ventilates. Truth of the matter is that that's his humanity.
Absolutely.
That's his humanity just coming to the surface, that hey man, hey, it's too much. It's too much. I need to. And whether he does that through his craft, whether he does that through the gym, whether he does that through whatever.
Yes, it's a mechanism.
We are performing masculinity.
Yes.
And in my own personal experience, this is what I've learned about strength from my upbringing. I'm a middle child in my family. One, I've learned that there are two types of strength, and my masculinity was framed or trained to cope as if these two types of strengths are the same. The first one is that there's the strength that we demonstrate our strength by carrying things. You know, I'm a strong, and then we congratulate, yeah, I'm strong and I carry things and all of that. But that's the physical strength, because I demonstrate that type of strength through resistance. I need to resist weight. So if there's a, 10 kilogram dumbbell here, by picking it up and it not doing anything to me, I am resisting 10 kilograms of strength. Just give me more. I need a 12.5. Yeah. I can resist more. But then there's emotional strength, which works directly opposite of that, because our emotional strength is demonstrated by letting go. But now my training says carry. And carry. And the pattern, especially in black communities, and the pattern is that you'll see Abomkhulu, they die before Gogo. Kulu dies before
Oh, for sure.
Because the training dictates that men carry things. We carry emotional baggage. And biologically, our makeup is not working to our advantage because we have less estrogen. Our hearts are more likely to clog up.
Yes.
So, and so we're working with the disadvantage. So you're dealing with the world that taught you that it is emotionally unsafe for you, and then you are dealing with your own biology that's working against you, and you're dealing with a world that is looking at you as a man that, maybe come knowing. Okay. You should know these things. And you're like, no. And the truth of the matter is, though, in as much as it is upon each and every person to choose their path and whatnot and all of these other things.
But what about those that are blank and they don't know where to start? Do you get me? Not everyone is equipped with the tools and the wisdom to say, if I feel overwhelmed, I can slip it, I can cry it out, I can go play an instrument. There are those that, especially because, we need to deliver a message. It's a mental health month awareness. There are those to this day that are still, they have not figured themselves out as to, do I talk? Do I hold back? Who am I? You know, because it can be very confusing.
I think I'll start with talking. Again, men can talk. See, we don't know each other. We're having a full-on conversation. Do you know why? Because what we've established is that we're safe. So we can talk. We can go all the way back into our childhood because we've established. So the talking is not the challenge. It's the safety is.
But can I also pause you? I like that, the safety versus talking.
Yes,
you can talk, but you can talk but not express. Do you get what I mean? Yes. Men do talk, but what is important is, are you talking that, guys, I'm broke? Guys, my wife is divorcing me. Is that the conversation you put here? Or it's a matter of, I'm not okay. And like you said, the society will say, you'll be fine, Dwana. But the truth of the matter is, there's something that is killing you. You said it. You probably thought maybe you hinted somebody has got it, but they haven't had you. Do you get me?
I hear you. And I love that you're drawing the distinction between talking and expression.
Yes.
For me personally, it comes back to safety. I'll make an example. This is what I learned, like through the work that I do, especially when I looked at your Gen X's, you know, our parents, you know, and if we're like millennials and so forth, our parents, and even the boomers. So some of the affairs that old people had, especially men, they would have these affairs and whatnot, and some of them were non-sexual. He would just go there because he can talk to her. And by talking, he's able to undress himself from his armor and say, this is how I'm feeling. And she'd be there just minding her business and just cooking.
Ish.
And he's just there talking and talking and talking and Ish. Talking and talking and talking. And laughing and giggling the whole time. And the sex would come in years later or months later. But for all this time, he actually felt safe enough to express. It then comes back to performative masculinity, where we are trained to play the role very well. In some, for example, in households where the father may not be there, if the boy is there at an early age, he would have to surrender his innocence. He would have to surrender his childhood in exchange for, you're the man of the house now. Now you have to play a role, and he gets fully trained and equipped to play that role very well. And so the list goes on and on. We can make all these examples, but again, another point I wanted to touch on when I was talking about the interconnection between pain and strength is that when we are dealing with men's emotions, it's very important for us to understand that how they're expressed, they don't look like how the girl child would express her emotions.
Why?
That's just how we're made. That's how we're designed. I'll make an example. Yeah.
Are we saying society or biology?
Biology. I'll make an example. A man's pain sometimes looks like anger. Yeah, when it's expressed. And you might think, hey, this bra is why is he always upset? This man is in pain. That's why he's upset. He looks upset. But the outlet, but the outlet looks like is anger. It's constantly anger. So if we're able to learn how to listen and read masculine emotions for what they are without using our feminine tools, then we will be able to actually hear and see men for who they are.
Then it means as a society we have a role to play, right? Because that is deep, hey? Where do we even begin?
Very true.
Are we going back to our mothers? Or we paving the foundation? Where do we even begin? Because it's easy to say than to do. Yes.
So there's some interesting points that have been raised today, and I think I love the fact that I've seen a certain position or point in my life in everybody's story today. Whether it was, growing up in the church, or it was growing up and being left with Ukoko, and knowing that I'm going to be with Ukoko and Koko's going to love and take care of me, but the parents, I'm waiting for them to come back. I'm looking forward to them coming back, And in all the different stories, just seeing how I'm actually not alone in this, because my story is my story, and I think that it's just my story. However, Anel is having a similar story to mine, but I had no clue, So cool. I think there are a few things that have really stuck out for me. Just going back to what strength looked like. And in my family, I grew up in a family of, 4 of us, 2 parents, and my sister and I, me being the firstborn, and my sister following after a couple of years. And the personification of strength in the family was always my father, So he's there, he's a provider. He's a provider not only to our immediate family, but, to the extended family as well. So it's my grandmother, my aunts, and my uncles, and so on and so forth. And what strength looked like, and what, he would share strength as would be, hey, strength is not only, your physical strength or whatever it may be. It's showing up.
Oh.
Strength is showing up for not only your family, but for the people around you, so your extended family and so on. And as a result, whenever there would be anything happening, he would always be there. He would be looked at as the person of, hey, we cannot start this, whatever we're doing today, up until, so-and-so is here. Or we know that things are going to start moving and there's going to be progress when so-and-so arrives. And that is all good and well. And when you're looking at it from the outside looking in, it looks like, wow, this man, has got it all figured out. He's got it all together. It was only as I got old and having conversations with him where he's like, I feel so trapped in this.
Aha. Yes.
Because,
yes.
And it was something that I took as well, because it was like, you are the firstborn, you are my son, and you are the firstborn grandson, of grandchild even. So now you need to fill these shoes and, take on this role and do this particular thing. Exactly. and so when things get done, remember, I'm getting older, I look to you. But you don't have any other people that you're looking to, to somewhat share this load, However, you're trapped within the identity of I need to have it all figured out, and it needs to be well packaged and well put together. So show up and make sure that you are going to put your best foot forward. You don't get the space, or you don't have the space to say I'm actually not okay. And if you say I'm not fine, it's like, come on, bro, get over it. You'll be fine. Let's go. What's next?
Yes.
And that was I think where I think the breaking or the perfect picture started to break as well. I remember
It will break at some stage.
It does.
Yeah.
There was a point where, and I was having a conversation about this earlier, where you keep on running and you keep on carrying. And you keep on carrying and you keep on holding on to these different things that happen, the different responsibilities and the expectations that are set on, on oneself. Up until I remember I was at home and my mother walks into the room, and she's like, okay, what's going on? Like, are you coming? What's happening? I think we're supposed to be going somewhere that day. Dragging my feet and taking my time. And then she came back to the room a second time, and then she's like, okay, so I'm going with my children. You guys can stay if you want to stay, Now, yay, something clicked at that point, and that was because I don't even think she was saying it as, or trying to hurt someone, or just saying it to try, and she was just saying, you can do your own thing, When I'm going with my children, we're out. So you'll
figure it out.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. You guys are old. But it just clicked, and I think that was the first time someone had a breakdown, emotional breakdown where
Your dad.
I was not crying about what she said. That was the smallest thing, on my plate at that time, we were going back 10, 15 years. We were going back to when I was with Ukoko. And you guys were not there. We were going
the
back to... The
bottle was full.
Yes, we were going back to the expectation that I need to, or the role that I need to fill. That is not... It has never been... I never asked for this chalice. You just gave it to me and you said, okay, this is yours. And we're going back to the little disappointments or the little, emotions that really just got swept under the rug, and that was, I think, that was a necessary point, because then I understood after even a conversation with them, they were like, but, okay, we did not know, and in all the pressures that you also set on yourself, you could have said no. And I'm like, hey, actually, I could have said no. I really could have said no. But I thought, as a man, you're not supposed to say no. You should always say. You should show up. You should, perform.
Yeah.
You should.
But you know why? It is also because many parents and elders were also surviving what they were never given language for.
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
True.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
They were also surviving that.
And what you're saying is so true, because I see it, when we have conversations with my dad. I think over the years we've really, really grown, to be very close. And for him, he grew up in a household where, the father was an alcoholic and abusive and so on. And so he had and he developed his own, survival mechanisms, some of which he maybe brought on to myself as well, or maybe expected from me. But when I look at just what his reality looked like, as he was growing up, I was like, wow, no, this bro went through a lot. This bro went through a lot, and still continued to carry everything else around him. So it's how do you speak when you do not know the language? You can't. Yeah.
Gents, thank you so much for being here and for sharing yourselves and expressing, but please, guys, whoever's watching this right now, don't let it be a thing where you just watch us do it. Like, this needs to be normalized, where we feel like we can talk about, the things that we have going on inside. There's no gold medal for isolation. Reach out. We're social people. That's how it's supposed to be. My sister, what are some mechanisms that we can use when it feels like we might start to be a little bit more isolated, or ways in order for us to express ourselves in healthy manners?
Okay. What I want to encourage is that it's okay for a man to break down. It's okay for a man to cry. I know we spoke about society said we must, but right now we have the responsibility, especially men, to educate your children and everyone who's watching that as hard life as it can be, reach out, speak to someone else. It can either be a therapist. A therapist is always a hard place. You know why? Because it's somebody new and you don't know that person, and it's very difficult to actually, undress yourself to somebody that you don't know. So I know
I actually appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that because I think most gents, we don't do it, and we feel like we're forced to do it.
Yes.
'Cause we're always told, go see a therapist. And I know that we don't do it, but I appreciate you saying that you may not always find the right fit.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yes. It's very difficult. I know everyone is like, oh, you're sick, you're mentally sick, go see a therapist. It's not easy if you have not first found yourself. We spoke about that. It is very important to first understand yourself. And when you reach out, people will judge. A therapist might not say what you want to hear. But when you know your journey and what you want, you only go there for you to express and to be redirected, and not to actually get tangible results.
It's all right. It's all right. The ringtone wants tangible results, but it's okay. It's all right. But you have a very good point. It's necessary for us to reach out and not find ourselves in a corner, isolated by ourselves, where we feel like we want to explode. So we really appreciate you being here and drawing us out. We really appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, and as I said, guys, many times the country, the world expect men to be strong. We know there's also this thing with women that indoda must, When you understand yourself, your capability, you shouldn't be pressurized by your environment. Stick for who you are. It's very important, because when you find yourself being all over the show, you're going to lose yourself. You're going to find a strong woman who's going to pull you this side, and you're going to find a weak woman who does not know what they want, and you also fall into that trap. What I encourage to everyone, especially men, is that, yes, speak out, reach out for help, but with a direction of where you actually want to go. Because the minute you know where the direction you want to go, there's internet. Most of us, we're trying to all have access. We can see with TikTok that even in the Bundus, everyone now can actually get access to internet. If you don't know where you're going, nobody's going to help you. You're going to come to my office and you all over the show, I'm going to try and support and encourage and redirect, but you need to do that work. And let's talk about somebody who's deep in it and say, do the work. It's hard. It is very important for us to actually then start observing around ourselves to say, but that man, he's quiet, he's angry, there's something wrong with him. Go to that man. Ask how they are feeling, and don't ask how they are feeling with, I'm okay. Oh, you're okay. Go deeper into that. Okay, I'm fine. Oh, you're saying you're fine, but you don't look fine. You'll see that you're going to help them. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.